Hello there, and welcome to the This Is an Album podcast. We're back. We had a little break, and we're now ready to continue with the lovely conversations about albums that we have had previously.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, usual intro. My name's Jacob. This is my wonderful friend, as always, Reiss, and we talk about albums. And this album was bought by myself, and I'm very excited to talk about this one because I think it's quite possibly one of my favourite albums ever.
Wow.
I do love this album. I do love this album.
This is a big one then.
And I just love it. I just think it's a great album. It's definitely up there with my collection. And that album is Pity Party by Liz Lawrence. And a few house rules before we start, as always. There is a lovely section halfway through this podcast where we have a weird and wonderful song, piece of music, anything weird and wonderful, we're going to react to it. And that's courtesy of Reiss this week.
It is indeed.
Do you want to give us a teaser or an idea?
Well, the story of this was I forgot about the weird and wonderful section until about 2 hours ago.
Nice.
So I kind of plucked one from the bottom of the barrel, but it's something that we both enjoy very much.
Oh, it's another one that we both know.
It's something that we both know. I couldn't.
Okay.
I will find something. It's wonderful. It's less. Oh no, it is weird as well. We'll enjoy it.
Okay.
And so
I'm
will
excited.
you if you're listening.
Okay. And then we also have the penalty word segment that will run throughout this podcast and every podcast we do, where if one of us says the other's penalty word, there is a forfeit due at the beginning of the next podcast.
Yes.
Thankfully, we both escaped last episode's penalty words.
Yeah, we did. That's pretty good going.
Which I'm super relaxed going into this one,
Yep.
knowing that I don't have to go through the painful process of wearing a suit.
Yeah, I haven't got to hit myself over the head.
Yeah,
with a cowbell.
I mean that if the quality of songs from you bonking your head comes out like it did last time, then I mean I want that again, to be honest.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's my proudest bit of editing. Yeah.
I was so good when you said that to me.
It didn't get the reaction that it deserved, I don't think. But when we get more listeners, that will come up as a.
That's viral video content right there. Mm-hmm. That's what we need to do. We need to make a separate page of you just hitting your head to various songs that have cowbell in.
Yeah.
So that's the penalty word section. We've got the weird and wonderful section, and that's all the sections. We've had a 2-week break, and I've just lost all concept of how to do things.
If anyone's wondering, Jacob has moved in the past 2 weeks.
In a new location.
It's a new location. He now has a plant.
I have a plant here. I have two. This is more for video people. I have 2 plants here in mugs.
Oh, nice.
And I have this big one here, courtesy of my wonderful girlfriend. That one, and this one. I thought this one was fake for ages, and then Mum came in and she was like, "Oh, that probably needs a bit of water." I was like, "No, it doesn't. It's not real." It is real. So I've neglected.
It was real. It's dead now.
It's just about surviving. Without further ado, let's talk about this week's album, which is Pity Party by Liz Lawrence. So, first thoughts from you, Reiss, seeing as you are the newest person to this album.
Yes.
What did you think?
I really, really like it. I feel like this is almost getting a bit repetitive every episode.
We just love the albums we're talking about.
What did you think? Oh, I liked it.
I loved it.
I really, really liked it. I don't know. I wasn't sure whether I was going to be honest. I don't know why. But kind of going into it, I kind of thought that you'd kind of made it out to kind of be like the way you set it up in the last episode was that it's, it's like it comes from your indie roots, and it's like
Oh yeah,
it's
big
like an
time.
indie album. I'm like, oh, is this going to be, like Bombay or
Yeah, there
something?
has been times in the past where I've said, "Oh, Reese, listen to this indie album," and you're just, "Oh,
Yeah, but this was definitely not the case.
hell
Yeah,
yeah."
I really, really liked it. I like it a lot. I
Hmm.
I really like how it's, as far as I'm aware, I haven't done any sort of research or anything into it, if I'm
Hmm.
honest. Um, but just from listening to it start to finish a couple times, um, it's very clear that it's got like a kind of theme running throughout the whole thing. I don't think
Yeah.
it's definitely not like, some sort of concept album or anything like that. But I really like how it starts off kind of smooth, and it slowly brings you into
Mm.
the album.
Hmm.
um, and I like how the topics that she kind of sings about and talks about is like very kind of like general topics, like it's about love and friends
Yeah.
and
No,
like,
definitely. It's a very relatable album.
yeah, definitely. And it's kind of like, yeah, I really like it. I personally, I'm rubbish with kind of lyrics and topics, and
Hmm.
some of my favorite albums, I don't know any of the lyrics to. I don't know the meaning of the
Yeah.
songs. You know,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I that's not something that I kind of like attach myself to,
Hmm.
naturally. So when something is just really simple, it's like, this song's about love, this one is about friends, this one is about myself, this is about a job. It's like, good, I can understand this.
I've been through all of these things.
Exactly. I've got friends.
No, definitely, and the way that I watched an interview that she did. It was a really cool gig actually. She did a gig in a library,
Oh,
um,
cool.
which is quite an oxymoron because it's like, you have to be quiet in libraries. But she played a full gig. It was really cool, and they did a little interview, and she basically described the album as accessing the happy and sad things that happen to us and the way we feel.
Right.
See things with a sense of humour in a warm way, which I think makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, that makes a lot
To
of
which she
sense.
then said, like, I've had the worst day ever. That's hilarious.
Right.
And I think we all do that, especially at this point. It's like,
Yeah, exactly.
I've
Yeah.
been stuck inside. Fucking funny.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think definitely the reason why I sort of gravitated to this album and sort of really, really enjoyed it from the get go is because it's so relatable. And it basically, I think a lot of it is kind of being in your 20s and like, just, like, I mean, there's the whole thing of when you're in your 20s, like, what should you be doing? Should you be getting married? Should you be having kids? Should you have a job?
Yeah.
I'm still living with my parents.
Yeah.
I'm a fucking loser, you know. It's like,
Yeah.
it's such a weird time in your life. And I mean, I'm only in the infancy of my 20s, but
Yeah.
it's still you still then have all these weird pressures to look forward to. And
Yeah,
I think
definitely.
this
And even
album covers that in sort of an obvious and subtle way.
Yeah, I think so, definitely. Yeah, when you put it that way, it's very clear that she is. I'm assuming she is, in her 20s. I guess that. I mean that.
Yeah.
That's really what it feels like. It does feel like.
If she isn't, then it's great method writing.
Yeah, she's actually 50.
Smashed it. But yeah. But what I love about this album is as well is you can't. I don't suppose you listened to her earlier stuff, did you?
No, I haven't
No.
listened to any of the other stuff, unfortunately.
No. So this is her second album.
Mhm.
She's had an album before this, which came out in 2011, 2012.
Right.
And I think you'd like the earlier stuff as well. It's slightly different. It's definitely more on the indie guitar rock kind of, not rock indie.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I know what you
yeah,
mean.
that kind of that area.
Yeah.
And it's a lot less electronic. And then there's an EP that she did, the Health and Safety EP, which is an absolute banger. And the first track is called Health and Safety, and it's kind of like, do you know Don't Sit Down Because I've Moved Your Chair by Arctic Monkeys?
Yes. Yeah, of course.
It's kind of like a more indie version of that, where it's kind of similar theme throughout,
Okay.
but it's just done in a more light-hearted way, I think.
Yeah.
And that EP kind of gravitates from indie rock at the start, and then it kind of, for me, moves into some indie folk kind of stuff, like quite Laura Marling.
Yeah,
kind of,
Laura Marling was the first name that I wrote down when I started thinking of
definitely.
what it
Like,
reminded me of.
the earlier stuff, especially, like it's a more upbeat Laura Marling, I'd say.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I was going to say.
Definitely, it is that. It's really nice, but also it's not. You're not instantly thinking this is just another version of Laura Marling.
I think what made me think of her was obviously it's very like British. She sounds
absolutely
very British, and but also how kind of the tone of her voice. She kind of has like a bit of a moody kind of
it's definitely
vocal style.
It's definitely got a. I don't know what word am I trying to think. It's original. I mean, everyone has an original voice, I guess, unless you're trying to impersonate someone. What am I trying to say? Distinctive. That's what I'm trying to say. She has a very distinctive voice, I think.
Distinctive, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Distinctive. I think you can definitely recognise her voice, and I think it's great. I think it's really, really good, and it suits. She definitely uses it to her advantage.
Yeah, definitely.
The themes that she talks about in the tone that she talks about, I think, is a really good balance. And so I discovered Liz. I'm just going to call her Liz, just Liz Lauren, first name basis.
Yeah.
And I discovered her through the best band in the world, that is Bombay Bicycle Club.
Yeah.
Because she's featured, she tours with them, she does BVs, she plays some instruments with them live.
Oh, cool.
And then she did. She's on the latest album. Everything Else Has Gone Wrong. And then she also did some stuff when Bombay had their little hiatus. She then went and did a couple of tracks with Ed Nash, the bassist, in his side project Toothless, who are really cool as well.
Okay.
And so I remember watching loads of live videos of Bombay and seeing Liz and being like, oh, I haven't seen her listed in, like, when you look up the band, the members. So I was obviously like, oh, she's an extra within the setup, and then sort of from there went diving and found the Health and Safety EP, and then this. And I just think, honestly, like, to have the career that she does, where she's touring with Bombay and having a really cool solo project as well, it's a bit of a
that's a pretty good setup
scenario, really. I think it's awesome. And like the interviews that I was reading through that she's done, she was like, oh yeah, got back from the USA tour last week, and now I'm just doing some recording and back on tour with Bombay again in a few weeks. I'm like, you lucky sod.
Yeah.
Like, that is such a good life.
Yeah, that's all right, isn't it?
Such a good life. But yeah, but I mean, it's honestly thoroughly deserved, because I think the way that she writes and she produced this album, it's self-produced as well.
Really? Oh wow, cool.
Yeah, really. Which again, when we always talk about this with every album we've spoken about, but the production value is great.
Yeah, I really like it as well.
With all the guitars, and because I also found that when I was like, especially this week, going back and listening to it some more, I was hearing new things that I hadn't heard previously on my first listen. Like loads of little added guitar lines, like loads of synth layers and stuff, and it was really nice to kind of have almost a new experience every time listening to it. Which I think shows the sign of a good album and good production on an album, where you're finding new things hidden and buried deep.
And they also kind of, I feel like, I was going to say they, but she, if she's the one that produced it, seems to use sort of big sounds and reverbs and stuff as an advantage to the songs. Like the one I'm thinking of is, I think it's Navigator. Hang on. Yeah, so like at the start of Navigator, where it's all kind of synths and her vocals, and it's all sounds very big and sort of grand. And then when it starts, it all kind of strips right back, and it sounds very sort of in your face. And and I like they kind of use those effects to make those changes.
Yeah, definitely. I like the chorus when it comes into the chorus, when it's like the lyric before kind of leading into the chorus. You then just kind of, it's a massive head bop of a chorus, and you're just
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
It feels great.
Yeah, you know it's coming, and then it happens, and it's great. Yeah,
Definitely.
It's
It's a nice drop.
It's a really satisfying song. Yeah.
And I think from Love Came Looking, where it's kind of all warm and atmospheric, and then all this motion, then that just shows how it makes me feel. I couldn't help but do that. But you kind of go from that to then you sort of move quite nicely through the first couple of tracks, and then you get to like Navigator kind of picks it up slightly, and then None of My Friends is like the big one, and that's my favourite song on the album.
Okay. Yeah.
I love that song so much. Like some of I think when I first listened to it, the We Connect over late stage capitalist memes, I was just like, that's brilliant. Like and it's just kind of thrown in there quite casually.
Yeah.
And there's loads. I think a lot of the lyrics feel like they're thrown in quite casually, but I think they're great. I think lyrically it's a really good, strong album as well.
Yeah, definitely. And like what we said at the start, it's really accessible,
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I agree.
So what is your favourite song on the album?
I think Navigator's my favourite, to be honest.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think so. I really, really like that song.
It's definitely up there with my favourites.
I think it's really cool because it is like a super upbeat indie guitar song.
Yeah.
But it's kind of different, and the chorus isn't completely kind of square musically. Like it's kind of it feels like it really follows the vocals, and I really like it. Either that or What People Do.
Yeah.
I like that song a lot. That made me think of You, the guitar sounds in that.
Oh yeah. See what I mean? The head just goes again.
Yeah.
I can't help it. Oh, it's so good. It's so good.
Yeah, it's like, really great.
She knows how to write a chorus. I
Yeah.
think that's the common theme throughout this, is that every chorus is fucking great.
Yeah, it is, and it's like old school chorus writing as well. It's not like it's not hooky. It's not like overly repetitive, and it's not like like in modern chorus writing and stuff. And this, okay, now we're going into something that I don't know about. I don't know about, but like,
No, go on, Reiss. Go on.
No. But like,
Dig that
everything,
hole.
everything is short, isn't it? Like everything is like a one bar phrase. It's like a one bar thing, and then they repeat it a fucking million times, and that is the hook, and that gets played all the time. Whereas this, it's like the chorus is one singular, well written thing, and then you move on. Like I really like
that's
it. It reminded me of like old school sort of, even like the Beatles used to write choruses. Not that I'm even a big Beatles fan, but it kind of, do you know what I mean? Like it's
No, definitely. It's like I said earlier, with the layers and the guitars and everything. It's all of the key parts throughout the song put in the because obviously the typical definition of the chorus is like the main part of the song.
Right.
Traditionally in songwriting, I think.
Yeah.
That's how I see the chorus, is obviously the main part that you want everyone to remember. And I think that the way, even across the album, the way she builds up to the choruses gives it so much more of a punch, and you kind of, I think that's why the head bop happens, because of the build up to it, and then it's just there in its full glory. And I think that's why I love a lot of the songs on this album is because of the choruses, because they're so strong.
Yeah, they're really great. Yeah, they're really, really cool.
I mean, it's like, it's also the I think the intro to USP might be my favourite.
I was about to bring up USP. I think that's one of one of the strongest choruses, and I definitely heard that before. I feel like I heard that like when I've been in River Island or something. Like I feel like I've heard that on a radio in a shop somewhere. Yeah.
Well, that's the other thing as well. Is like I haven't heard this album that much in public, in like a general space.
Yeah.
And I also don't know. Not many of my friends have listened to it prior to me sort of saying, "Oh, have you heard of this album and stuff?" And I think that what were we saying? Which album were we saying it about? I can't remember which album we were saying it about. But I think it deserves so much more attention.
Yeah, definitely.
I think it's so good, and I think that
I'm definitely going. And it's like, I feel like most people would like it. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, definitely.
Like,
definitely.
I don't think it's
plenty in there.
I don't think it's so sort of poppy that people will disregard it as a pop album. I don't think it's so indie that people will disregard it as, like, you know, an Arctic Monkeys wannabe. And I don't think people will. Like, I can't see who would listen to this and go, "This is rubbish." Like, I think there's, especially on this album, and like her back catalogue as well. Like on this album, like you said, it covers a lot of ground in kind of what people like. And I think also, if they're not a fan of this album for whatever reason, then they need to grow up.
They need to get a grip and actually take a long, hard look at themselves. but I think if they then went to her back catalogue of older music and kind of looked at the Bedroom Hero album and the Health and Safety EP, I think they could find stuff that they like there. Because, like I said, it covers. She's definitely had this really nice progression from those first releases to now. Because she also did an electronic project with a band called Cash and David. And that's kind of more on the electronic side, like this album is. And I think that came first before this album, and I think that's where a lot of the kind of some of the inspiration came from. Oh yeah, actually that reminds me. What do you think her when she started? What she was into?
What she was into when she started? When she
started. What would you say based on these albums and stuff?
Well, I can only go off this album. Oh man, I have no idea. When you put it like that,
in punk bands.
Do you know what? That makes sense. And
it makes so much sense because of how good the guitar writing is.
The guitar writing's really cool, and I think it's Want. Is it Want?
Like, this is my second favourite song on the album.
Like, speed that up. Editor Reiss, speed that up. That's just that's just like you know, that's a Green Day Dookie tune.
Absolutely. No, definitely. And I thought and when she said that in the interview, I thought that makes so much sense because the guitars on this, like the guitar tones, the riffs, the writing, I think is brilliant. And I definitely think that's why I gravitated to this album, is initially because of the guitars. Yeah, definitely guitars before anything else. And I've literally just realised as well, and this is again completely accidental, I'm wearing a very similar shirt to she is on the album.
Oh yeah, yeah, you are.
And I picked up on this like quite a while ago.
You also have a plant to your left, so you just need a baby now.
I just need a child.
Go get moon pie.
Go get moon pie.
We'll recreate the cover.
He would hate that. He would absolutely hate that. He's not a cuddly cat.
Aww.
And the other thing that I noticed that I share stylistically with Liz Lawrence is the white socks and Doc Martens.
Oh yeah.
I don't see many people wearing white socks and Doc Martens, so I was like, oh my god.
Well,
so that's how my legs look.
That's what I wear now. I got Doc Martens at the start of COVID.
You did, didn't you?
Yeah, I got Doc Martens at the start of COVID, and
Are you a
now
white socks man with your Doc Martens now?
I am. I'm one of
I
you
love
now. I'm one of you now.
You are. You're turning into an indie boy.
I know. Oh,
You got the dungarees. You've got the Docs.
well.
I'm having a real influence on you, Mr. Reiss. Can you imagine we switched and I just started going like back to your roots and
Yeah.
just turned into this like death metal kid.
Yeah.
I mean, if you were to turn into my roots, you'd look like Gary Barlow, but
you don't want to look like Gary Barlow.
no, fuck Gary Barlow.
He was on something. He came on my TV at some point, and I was immediately angry. And he was on something, and and he's just so boring. He's just pointless.
I still think that as much as I love Take That, we should have a fuck Gary Barlow segment.
Well, here it is. Fuck Gary Barlow.
Oh, I still do love Take That, and it's gonna crop up every podcast that, you know. But I do love Take That.
It's a good
And
thing.
I think-
Yeah.
I think this transitions nicely from fuck you Gary Barlow to the Weird and Wonderful segment.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Right. So.
Oh, here we go. I'm excited.
So for this week's Weird and Wonderful, like I said at the beginning of this, I had forgotten completely about this section. So I just thought, what's something that we can laugh about quickly?
Nice.
So here we go.
Okay. Do I need to shut my eyes so I don't see?
No.
the title?
I've renamed the title.
Oh,
so you won't
you've
be able to
renamed
see
it. Clever.
What I will do is I will mark how many seconds it takes for you to know exactly what this is. Okay.
Oh God. Okay.
Here we go. What? Do you know what it is?
Is it Bo Burnham?
No.
Tim Minchin?
No. What are the clicks?
What?
Okay, never mind.
Why is that funny? That's not funny.
Oh, of course.
Crack myself in. That is quite funny, actually. Sometimes the audience sees things that I don't. I've got to admit that it's funny. This is Kevin Town FC. So
Oh, I love it.
K and E to T to T, E to D and I-N-G, T to D to W-N,
Kettering Town, FC.
and an E to T to T, E to D and I-N-G, T to D to W-N, Kettering Town, FC, and a T and a T, E to D and I-N-G.
I'm gonna make you listen to the whole thing.
Thing is though, like, it's brilliant because you think like, oh, he's just gonna take a letter out each time.
Yeah.
But it just gets funnier and funnier when he's
Yeah. Anna.
It's really difficult. I tried doing this once. It's really hard.
Yeah. Okay, we're not actually gonna listen to the whole thing.
Because it just turns into Anna's.
Yeah. Oh, here we go.
Imagine, I'd love to see that at a stadium, like a whole home stand doing
Epic.
that.
Oh, that'd be emotional.
That would be beautiful, actually.
And Kettering Town, FC,
It's so good.
Because he's stomping along as well. He gets really out of breath.
Yeah, I know.
It's not only tiring on the brain; it's tiring on the body.
That's my song. I wrote that song. Have you watched his new? If anyone is unaware, that's James Acaster with the Kettering Town FC song.
Mine and Reiss's hero.
Our hero, and if we're being honest, we're just copying him with this podcast. So.
Oh yeah, completely.
Yeah.
James, if you ever listen to this, please don't hurt us.
Please don't.
Please.
Yeah.
Yours is way better.
Have you listened? Have you watched the new 1999 Cold Lasagna?
No, I need to. It's on my to-do list.
It's absolutely
good?
brilliant. It's so good, man.
All right. I rewatched some of the the Netflix special the other day. It's just, it never gets old.
No, it
And
doesn't.
we quoted him the other day as well in a podcast, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. I can't remember.
Jorge Gallegos.
Galahielos.
You remember him? What a man.
Well,
Anyway, that was good. I did like that. That was a nice reminder that exists.
do you know what? It was either going to be that, or the other thing that I had was, and the reason I didn't was because I didn't know whether you would. I would have to get your consent to play it,
no.
and that would ruin the surprise if you knew what it was. But it was you at Love Supreme doing.
Oh my god! Yeah. Oh fuck!
I thought
that would have been really good. That would have been really good.
Maybe that will come back.
That can. I'm still yet to put that on the internet.
I
so
can't
maybe
believe
this
you
is the
haven't yet.
platform. This
Yeah.
is the platform
Maybe.
to do that. I think I went to one time, and then I just didn't.
Yeah.
For anyone that's wondering what the hell we're talking about, me, Reiss, Claire, Adrian and Misha, we went to the great festival that is Love Supreme. When was that? 2018?
Yes.
Must have been 18.
Yeah, 18. Yeah.
So 2018, and we went for the day, and we saw Earth, Wind and Fire, Moonchild. We went to see George Benson, but we completely missed his set because we cocked up the timings.
George Clinton.
George Clinton, not George Benson. Close.
Very
They're
different.
both funk guys. They're both funk guys, aren't they?
No, isn't George Benson like a old jazzer? I don't know. I'm probably embarrassing myself now. Who's George Benson?
I think we've both embarrassed ourselves here.
Hang on.
Quick Google search. This is when he's not even a musician.
Yeah, he's
a jazz
Jazz
guitarist.
guitarist.
Oh look, I just can't help being the jazz head that I am.
Oh my god.
But yeah. So anyway, we were walking around the festival and we found this amazing, like, it was almost its own festival. This little area.
It was amazing.
Like Ardbeg whiskey, and they had like this house band on like really nice little easy setup. So like guitar, bass, drums on a cajon with little hi hat and snare.
Yeah.
And they basically had this massive book that they were giving around with just all the covers that the band knew.
There were like
And
hundreds of songs.
There was so many songs in there, and you'd go up to the host and say, "Oh, I'd like to do this song," and you get up and do a karaoke with a live band. And so me, being me, of course, the attention-seeking twat, thought I need to do this. So what did I do? I bet you looked good on the dance floor.
Yeah.
You
had to come up with a pun.
I think I absolutely smashed it.
Yeah.
I think that's probably one of the best they've ever had, and I'm surprised I didn't get a brand deal for it.
You should have done. Maybe you will now.
I should have. I mean, I hope. Well, yeah. Ardbeg, if you're listening, I'll send you the footage. Get me on an advert or something. But yeah, so the whiskey was called Ardbeg, and I went with "I'll beg you look good on the dance floor," which I think is
And everyone
probably
erupted.
one of the best play on words since Shakespeare.
Yeah.
But yeah, so maybe next episode we'll bring that.
It was a brilliant.
Bring that to show.
Definitely. If anything, for people to learn how to perform. And,
Oh, absolutely.
and
Maybe I should start a crash course as well.
maybe you should.
There was one point in that, I will say, my favourite point. I did a mic flip, and I felt like Michael Bublé. It was amazing. It was it was really something. But yeah, all right, I'll bring that next week. Remind me to bring that, and I will. Yeah, another. We're getting better at this weird and wonderful thing now.
Are we?
I definitely think that we still haven't found the William Shatner.
No, we haven't. No, we need to do that.
I mean, what would be really funny if it is just a complete stranger?
Oh my god. Yeah.
I mean, that'd be kind of weird, but also very funny. But yeah.
Moving swiftly on.
Moving swiftly on. I was going to say transition, but we don't have any transitions yet.
No.
Maybe that's the time to put transition in. We'll go for like the presentation, like dissolve. Like the year 6 presentation. Like, I'm going to smash this just because this slide transition.
Oh my god. Yeah.
So seeing as we mentioned it earlier, I think And I personally just want to listen to it. Can we play the intro to USP, please?
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, so good.
Yeah.
See, it's also the vocal production on this, I feel, is slightly different to some of the other songs.
Yeah, it's got kind of like a bit of a distorted thing going on.
Yeah, and it sounds like,
Almost like crunch.
obviously she's
doesn't
done layers, but
it? Yeah.
they sound quite different. It's weird.
What I really like as well from like I haven't actually had my drummer brain on for this album at all,
No?
that's a good sign. That's a sign that I like.
That is good.
Because normally any musician would relate to this. When you listen to something, you immediately turn to your drummer brain, your guitarist brain. You go, not my choice.
Yeah,
I wouldn't have done that, but.
No, definitely.
Or
mean-
or you talk about the sounds or whatever. But thinking about it now is, especially with this song, like you can really hear the mix of like electronic drums and real drums. I don't know if there is a real drummer on this album or whether it's all sort of programmed. But there's like a
yeah.
cool mix of sort of like 808s and electronic sounds and real hi-hats and real snares and cymbals and stuff,
Yeah.
which is really cool. I really like that. I love it. I love it when producers do
cool.
that and like mix up, synthetic and real drum sounds. Yeah, I think that's really cool.
Yeah, when watching some of her live stuff, like she's done a load of BBC live videos, and she has like a live drummer obviously there.
Yeah.
But then she does some shows just on her own, and she'll just hit a laptop and it'll do like the backing track or like the drum beat and stuff, and then she'll do everything else herself, which I think is a great balance as well, because it means you can sort of get the best of being a one-man band and a full-man band.
Yeah.
It's good that, I mean, this album definitely panders to my guitar brain, but there's also so much else in there to listen to that, although it is quite guitar heavy, you still can hone in on some other sort of instrumentation.
Yeah.
Which for me again shows why I think it's such a great album.
Yeah. Another thing that
love it.
that kind of stuck out to me was how it's kind of clear in the way that this is sort of recorded or mixed, I don't know, or the way she's just performed it, is it sounds like, and especially I think is it Shoes, it sounds like you're at an open mic listening to her, like, you know how generally with recorded stuff the vocals are normally very clean and there's some reverb in the background, or the guitar's very clean and there's some reverb in the background. It kind of sounds almost like I don't know, like it just sounds live. I think it's Shoes.
It's definitely got that like raw, intimate feel to it.
It sounds like it,
Same with Love Came Looking.
do you know what it made me think of? It sounds like that song, Shoes. It sounds like it was recorded at the Loft in.
Wow, yeah, you can definitely see it there.
Do you know what I mean?
When you said open mic, I pictured the Magic Garden.
Oh wow, okay, yeah.
I pictured watching it there.
Yeah.
But the Loft makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Yeah, so I really like that. It sounds very sort of human and like you're just listening to someone play a song, which
Absolutely.
which obviously any song is, but I don't know. Oh, what the fuck I'm talking about?
That was a fucking groundbreaking sentence right there.
Do you know what I mean? It just sounds like you're listening to someone play a song.
It just sounds like there's a guitar in there. and
Yeah.
She's using her voice to sing.
God.
And you're just listening to it.
Yeah, when you just listen to something and like you're listening to it.
Absolutely, man.
What an
I
idiot!
feel that.
What an idiot! Who gave me this microphone?
That was great. I've been waiting for one of us to say something like that. It's just stating the obvious. But what I also love, when I was saying earlier about like kind of how this album moves,
Yeah.
you know, like
Well, what's
think
happened to us today? We're not fit. We're not fit.
We
to do
can't.
this.
We can't have holidays anymore because we return like this.
Yeah.
I think because none of my friends and Want were on my running playlist in the first lockdown, and so like I listened to those two songs loads, and then in the evenings when I was like just having music on in the background or something, I'd have the more relaxed songs on.
Yeah.
Which I really enjoyed, having that difference in feeling and
Yeah.
sound. It was just really nice. And then when you obviously listen to the whole album, you get that whole motion in one sort of nice continuation.
Yeah.
So Liz, thank you for making this album. If you ever listen to this podcast.
She won't. No one listens to it at the moment.
No one does. Well, we've had one artist listen to our podcast. Lou in the Yakuza and Video Age saw my story.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
So I suppose that's something.
That's pretty cool.
That is pretty cool. So that at least they saw the story, you know. We're making some movements.
If you're enjoying this podcast, please do share it and tell your friends about it.
Nice.
You know, it'd be great if you know.
Please give me and Reiss some purpose.
Yeah. Please.
Please.
Help.
This has just got so desperate.
Yeah.
And again, I said this in a previous podcast, but that's why I'm really glad we're doing this, because you're showing me music I've never listened to before.
Yeah.
I'm showing you music, and
Yep.
also we're kind of just going on this adventure together, and I think it's really nice.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. How wholesome.
And so obviously it's very wholesome, and I think if to those who are listening, thanks Mum and Dad for continuously tuning in.
Thanks.
Feel free to send us music if you want to hear an album that you think me and Reiss would like based on
Yep.
the ones that you've listened to previously. Send them over. Just drop us a message.
Yeah.
William Shatner, send us a message, man.
Yeah. Not
You
you,
know.
Gary Barlow. You can fuck off.
Yeah. Gary, don't ever contact us. I tell you what though, if Gary Barlow did contact us, I'd be like,
I'd play the first album he recommended.
yeah, literally.
Yes, Gary.
I'd wear I'd buy a Gary Barlow t-shirt and wear it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's such a good forfeit.
Oh my god.
Oh, that's really good. Okay, I'm gonna save that one.
Oh man, we got towards the end as well.
We have.
We haven't
We
said.
haven't. It hasn't been said.
You got any more points you want to talk about?
No, I think. I mean, my main point is people just need to go away and listen to this album.
People just need to go away.
People just need to go away. This is we're on episode like 50, and we're like, why does no one listen to this? Jacob, you told them to go away on episode 5.
Yeah. So far,
no,
we've single-handedly told
stay here,
Gary Barlow, William
but-
Shatner, and everyone else to go away.
It's just you and me versus the world, Reiss. We're gonna go in the future. We're gonna try and get a job. We're gonna sit down in the interview room, and they're just gonna go, "Wait, aren't you the guy that did a podcast ages ago and told everyone to go away and told Gary Barlow to fuck off? Get out!"
Thanks for
Definitely an album.
thanks for recommending it. I
Yeah, no, absolutely.
enjoyed it.
I'm really glad that you liked it, and I hope that everyone else does.
Yes.
So I mean, yeah, seeing as we've done it, I thought you were going to say my penalty word.
Oh.
There was a period where I was like, oh, he's going to say it, but Verity's let me down this week. I asked the wonderful Verity what I should use for Reese's penalty word, and she said vibes.
Vibes. Oh, that is a good one. That is something I
Yeah,
would say. as
especially
well.
there was a point where you were talking about, I can't remember what you were talking about now. There was a period where I was like, he's going to say it, he's going to say it, he's going to say it. And then we moved on. I was like, oh,
Do you want to know something funny? I said your penalty word for like the one that I had for you. I said it.
oh
myself.
really? I
Within-
was trying not to say yours.
Within the first like 10 minutes, I said it.
See, thing is that's quite a tough one, because you're then putting that word in my head,
Exactly.
So that I could have said it.
So I think,
But also you're
I think if you did say it, I would have kind of been cheating, to be honest, because I
No.
would have put them-
I mean, I think I reached the lowest of the low. So I think
Yeah, true.
if you're not baiting me out like I baited you out, then I think you're fine.
Yeah. Well, the word was reverb, so obvious. And I was like that. I was sure you were going to say it straight away.
I don't know anything about production.
No, but you did spend hundreds of pounds on a reverb pedal, so I thought you might have.
Big up the big sky.
Big up the big sky. That is good.
Well, at least we can go into the next podcast relaxed and not having to wear a Gary Barlow t-shirt.
Exactly. There's enough stress going on at the minute. We don't need to.
Definitely.
We don't need to be stressing
stress
about
each other out more. No, definitely. I'm just gonna go punch my Gary Barlow punch bag after this. Now some
I can't believe this has happened.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Well, thank you all for listening.
Thank you, everyone. As always.
And I haven't actually thought about what album I'm going to bring next
That's
week.
okay. It can be a surprise.
I've got a few options, but I won't say just in case I change my mind and pick something else.
Nice.
But yeah, tune in.
You can just send it to me over the weekend or on Monday.
We do talk outside of this 45-minute window.
Actually, we do. This is not the only time that we talk.
No. Let's leave it at that.
We'll let you interpret that how you want.
Oh.
And on that note, thank you very much for listening, everyone. It's been great talking about this album, and I look forward to the next one.
Hell yeah.
Until then, fuck off.
Bye, everyone.
See ya.
Bye.
Oh.